through the dedication of the proceeds from the 2010 TELUS Skins game. In addition to this astounding donation, TELUS continues to generously support Jeneece Place by donating many of the technical and communications components of the house. Today's event has also been generously supported by TELUS. Thank you. The province of British Columbia and the Vancouver Island Health Authority jumped in early with the provision of the site for Jeneece Place, within steps of the front entry of the major pediatric health center for the island. Throughout construction, VIHA has proved to be a very good neighbor whenever we needed help. Today is no exception. VIHA generously provided this venue on very short notice. Thanks for that. The Norgard Foundation, honoring the memory of its founder, Corey Norgard, and his wife, Bernice, quadrupled Jeneece's $250,000 request to $1 million. Their foundation is true to its mandate of caring support for families, and we cannot express enough gratitude to them for their unwavering support and generosity. The Capital Regional Hospital District, recognizing the importance of Jeneece Place to the Victoria hospital community, stepped up with an astonishing $250,000 contribution to Jeneece Place. Tremendous community spirit. 9 other corporations and organizations each donated over $100,000 to the dream. As we have heard from many of them in the commemorative video, these gifts demonstrate their confidence in the dream of Jeneece, recognition of the needs of families and children for a home away from home, and the ability of Queen Alexandra to deliver on them. Please visit the areas of Jeneece Place named for them when you tour the house today. There were also in-kind donations of goods, supplies, and labor generously provided by all the contractors and suppliers, from the provision of large price discounts below cost to outright gifts of goods and services. We have been constantly overwhelmed by the generosity of the community. These gifts in kind amount to an amazing $1.1 million. We've received over 2,200 gifts. Gifts from corporations, large and small. Donations from little kids with lemonade stands and by donation of their birthday money. Gifts from teenagers inspired by Jeneece and beginning their own journeys as philanthropists in their communities. Donations by service clubs who hold events and fundraisers of every description so they could be involved in the dream. People emptied their pockets into large oil bins, held fashion shows, golf tournaments, galas, and every kind of fundraiser imaginable, all to help fulfill the dream of Jeneece Place. We are all inspired by the spirit of giving that this project has created within our community. How can we ever express our thanks to all of you? After today's event and the public tour tomorrow, we'll be welcoming families into the warm embrace of this home. During times of crisis, challenges, confusion, desperation, and sadness, Jeneece Place will be there to offer solace and comfort. The first family will arrive on Monday. You can only imagine their relief to have a place to rest their head, have a shower, grab a meal in between the hours, days, maybe months, to be spent by their child's bedside. The visionaries who created Queen Alexandra in 1927 could not have imagined how different our lives would be today, but I believe those generous and wise women would approve of and applaud what we have accomplished today with our new home away from home with your help. On behalf of the foundation, I want to express a special thank you to the consultants, contractors, and every worker who contributed to Jeneece Place, as well as the staff and volunteers of their foundation for their hard work and dedication to fulfilling Jeneece's dream and all the work of the Queen Alexandra Foundation. Finally, of course, I want to thank Jeneece and her parents, Angie and Dennis, and brother Nick. You are a loving, giving, and caring family. None of this would have happened without you. Earlier, on behalf of the Queen Alexandra Foundation, I presented a small gift to Jeneece to celebrate and commemorate her passage from childhood to adulthood yesterday and recognize her legacy to the children who will follow her. A specially designed pennant, handcrafted with the Jeneece Place logo and her birthstone, a garnet. Happy birthday, Jeneece. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the honorary patron of the Queen Alexandra Foundation for Children, His Honor, the Honorable Stephen L. Point, Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia. Thank you, Your Honor, for rearranging your busy schedule to be with us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, His Honor.
To Jeneece Edroff and to her family. Mr. Chuck Chandler, the Honorable Mike DeYoung, His Worship Graham Hill, Mr. Don Hubbard, Mr. Mel Cooper, Chair of TELUS, Tom Pringle, Ron Hewitt, President and Chief Executive Officer, Queen Alexandra Foundation. It's overwhelming to come and to tour the home that's been built. The song that you students sang, I think, encapsulates the feeling that I was having regarding everything that's taken place. It's amazing to come to an oasis, a place that understands the power of giving. We are in troubled times in this world, but there's a pathway out of that. Everything that's happening, there's a power that you and I have to transform our world. And Jeneece is walking that path. She's leading the way. All we have to do is to follow. The Queen Alexandra Foundation, Bruce Williams, all of you have done a wonderful thing here. And it's not just for one day, it's going to go on and on and on. What a tribute to our province. What an amazing gift that you've given to all of us. This is the power of giving. I have a small gift for Jeneece. If you'd come up and accept this. Stand right there. Yes. There's an old legend on the plains about the first pipe that came from heaven. It was brought by a white buffalo calf woman. It brought tremendous healing to our people, and it still does today. I thought about Jeneece this morning, and I thought about that woman who brought the first pipe. And so I'd like to present to you this small token. It's a beaded buffalo to remind you of our feelings towards you for the inspiration and the gift that you've given all of us.
Thank you. Honor, thank you so much. Your dignity and perspective mean a great deal to us, and so does your presence. Thank you so much for being with us here today. From the very beginning when this thing happened, the government was on board. The government of British Columbia got it. They understood, they saw the need, they knew it should happen, they stepped up to support from day one. We want to give the government right now an opportunity to acknowledge our thanks. At this point, I'd like to invite on behalf of the Premier of British Columbia, the Minister of Health, the Honourable Michael de Young, to come up and say a few words. Mike.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Your Honor, Jeneece, your family, your worships, your worship. When they brought the cake out, I said it's 18, not 81, your worship.
I'll remember.
I know you will. Representatives of the Queen Alexandra Foundation, Norgard Foundation, TELUS, representatives from the various levels of government that are here, my colleague, Minister Ida Chong, who, Bruce is quite correct, never lost a moment to remind us of the impact that this project could, would, and now will have. Colleagues from the legislature, I think I saw John and Lana. Good to see you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeneece, look at what you've unleashed. We come here today, folks, and two things come to mind. The work of an incredible young woman who defied the odds, thought not of the cards that had been dealt to her, but thought instead of what she could do with that hand and with her family. Sought to blaze a trail, as His Honor has mentioned, that few would have had the courage to tackle. Virtually everyone in this room has made a contribution to making this dream become a reality and has had an opportunity to see Jeneece work her magic. She's a giant. She reminds us that there are, at the end of the day, 3 bones that guide us in life. And if we have them, we're lucky. If we use them properly, we're luckier still. A wishbone. The ability to dream big. The backbone. Because dreams are good, but they don't become a reality without a lot of hard work. And a funny bone. Because it's not always easy, and it doesn't always happen the way we want, and the ability to laugh along the way, sometimes most heartily at ourselves. You inspire us. At the tender young age of 18, you remind us that if we dream big, we can accomplish great things. And we celebrate today the opening of a remarkable facility, a home. A home that will serve so many people. I applaud Vancouver Island Health Authority, people within the Health Authority who, I know Howard is here, chair, members of the board, who saw immediately the value in what was being presented and the work and the contribution that this would make. Thousands upon thousands of families who at perhaps the most difficult time in their lives will have one less thing to think of. Jeneece met with Premier Clark yesterday. Premier Clark wishes desperately that she could have been here. These are the moments that inspire. And Ida and I and John and Lana, we thank you as citizens of British Columbia for locking arms with Jeneece and her family and her team and the foundation to make this a reality. They are powerful words, you know. Thank you. Thank you a million times. Thank you for the pennies from heaven that turned into much more than just pennies. And thank you from all of those families, all of those people who in the years ahead will be served so well by what you have inspired us to accomplish together. Thank you, Jeneece.
Minister, thanks very much. Mentioned earlier that Elmer George couldn't be with us today. We, of course, are on the traditional territory of the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, and they have been involved in the creation of Jeneece Place. They were with us last weekend for the blessing of the First Nations art, which you will see when you tour. It's remarkable. We're also in View Royal. Graham Hill is a guy who I would see at a number of events during the course of the last couple of years, and every time I saw him in the crowd, I'd say, "We're coming to your town, you know that. We're coming to see you." And we're here in his gatherings with other mayors, all 13 of them in this area. The mayor was able to carry our point forward. I'd like to welcome him up here right now and publicly thank him for what he did. He also represents the Capital Regional Hospital District Board. Would you please welcome His Worship Graham Hill, the mayor of View Royal.
Your Honor, Jeneece, ministers, honored guests by the hundreds. Welcome to View Royal. On behalf of the residents and the council, it pleases me enormously to see this happening. Because of my health, I have a familiarity with this space. I've never seen so many people here before. And I think perhaps the only other way you'd get this size of crowd out is if the Queen was appearing. But perhaps today we don't have a queen, but we surely have a princess. What a place, what a time. When the agenda was put together, I was invited to speak on the notion of community, of what we are and how we have come together in this wonderful adventure. People in my trade work at the sense of community, striving to build and make things better, engaging in collective outcomes that are wonderful. The Governor-General, in his New Year's speech to Canada, he said something pretty fundamental and pretty wonderful as far as I was concerned. He described Canada by saying, "We are a nation of barn raisers." There is that fundamental, that prairie ethic of coming together, putting our muscles to work, our resources to work, and making something better for individual families, for the community, and for our nation. And when you make your tour of what is seen out here, you will see something that establishes a standard and a place from the color and from the symbol that is there of just what people, when they work together, can do for one another. When my daughter arrived from Peru, she said to me, "You know, Dad, it's one of those wonderful things to come to a place where things work." She meant water, the bus that went by. She also meant when things are done so well that you can count on them. Well, when you walk around that place, take a look at the space, take a look at the colors, take a look what's been presented there. And I will tell you that you will offer up a praise and thanks. I've had a privilege of sitting here earlier And it's a very difficult thing to do, to come and speak both after the eloquence and the sincerity, the prayer-like qualities of what's just occurred, but also to look in the faces and to look at the tears welling up as people listen to the music, thank you choir, and listen to what has happened here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a time to celebrate. Honored guests, those that have made a difference, thank you for this. And the legacy that is left here will change lives for a long, long time to come. Jeneece, you have made a difference. Thank you.
Mayor, thank you very much. Thank you for making us so welcome and doing all that had to be done to make sure that this was done right and done in View Royal. VHA, huge part, we're in a VHA building right now. VHA made it possible for us to move inside instead of standing out in the parking lot in the rain. VHA from the very beginning has known the need for this facility because it is VHA staff, it's VHA employees, it's VHA counselors that every day of their lives see families who are standing in a lobby, in a room, somewhere in a hospital saying, I have nowhere to stay. In a lot of cases, I didn't expect to be here. What am I supposed to do? VHA from the very beginning knew that this had to happen. In the very early stages, the Queen Alexandra Foundation and my dear friend Mel started talking with Howard Waldner, who is the head of VHA, about this. And oddly enough, about 2 weeks after that, in a charity golf tournament, I ended up in a foursome with Howard Waldner, and I'm pretty sure he thought I was stalking him, which I was not. But we knew from the very beginning that VHA understood the need for this facility. I'd like to right now invite the chairman of the board of the Vancouver Island Health Authority to say a few words. Would you please welcome Don Hubbard?
Thanks, Bruce. Good afternoon, Your Honors, Jeneece and the Endroff family, Your Worships, the Alexandra and Norgard Foundations, TELUS, and all guests. Victoria General Hospital is VHA's largest pediatric care center on the island. It provides top-notch specialty and primary pediatric care to children throughout the health region. We are proud of the excellent care and service that the sick children receive here and in many of our facilities on Vancouver Island. There's nothing more worrying or stressful to parents than a sick child. We know families will travel any distance to get their children to care that they need, he or she needs. Having loved ones present and actively supporting recovery can make a profound difference to patients and takes a financial burden off the families. Our hope that Jeneece Place will reduce the overall stress, financial burden on many of the families, resulting in healthier outcomes for the children. Miss Jeneece Endroff is an amazing young woman, and in her work on behalf of the other sick children, she is truly an inspiration. And I really think you have a career there, personally. Thanks to Jeneece and the Endroff family, the Alexander Foundation, Foundation for Children, Norgard Foundation, and TELUS for bringing this project to life. And I know there's hundreds of names we could thank, but I can't list them all today. On behalf of the VHA board, our exceptional pediatric care team, and all the staff at VHA, congratulations. And congratulations, Jeneece, and happy birthday.
Don, thank you very much. Don and I actually both are guys who live in the Mid-Island. So these are the areas where the families will be coming from that will be using Jeneece Place. So we knew that from a geographic point of view as well. To VHA, to Howard, to everybody, thank you so much to your entire staff for what you've done. Initial large partner, the first big boost that Jeneece Place got was from TELUS. TELUS were a part of all the planning and all the strategy in the very earliest of days. Marshall Birkin, who is here today with his team on the island, which is now led by Ray Lawson, who's here as well, came forward for the guidance that we needed and the money to start this project and get it underway. But the gem in all of it, of course, is Mel Cooper. Mel Cooper. I could go on all day about Mel Cooper. Mel is one of the guys who built this community. He is a guy who has shown leadership that all of us have aspired to, that all of us have followed, that all of us have believed in. Mel and I have had the privilege of doing things with the United Way and with Santa's Anonymous, and all of you have done something in your life that has touched something that has been influenced by Mel Cooper and Carmela, who have been a part of that. Carmela, actually, past board member in the Queen Alexandra Foundation. The regard and respect I have for Mel Cooper is unmatched, and I could go on about that for a long time, but I won't. It's been my privilege to serve with him in this project, and my extreme pleasure to introduce to you the chair of the TELUS Community Board, Mel Cooper.
Bruce, we Newfoundlanders, that's where I'm from, not used to that kind of praise. And it does turn our heads when you say such wonderful things. You're some good. You're some good by. I was out yesterday moving around the community after all the snow we've had and so forth. And the thing that amazed me, and I was telling Carmela about this, were the number of people who were coming up to me, seriously, I'm not talking about one or two, saying, oh, it's too bad about the weather and so forth, but I know that things will improve. And I said, well, yeah, it'll happen. And then they said, thank you. And would you say thank you to Jeneece? And it was really wonderful. And then one woman who I met on a sidewalk, she said to me, you know, you spoke a long time ago, and I was in the audience, and I remember one thing you said. And she said, I'd like you to tell it to, I said, I'm going to be speaking again tomorrow, I hope. And she said, well, tell them. You said, the only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. And that is true. I want to thank everyone who is here. It's obvious to all of us who know Jeneece and know her well that she loves music, absolutely adores music. And she's I'm very proud to be part of the PACE group that were so kind to sing here today and did such a wonderful job with that song, I Believe, which was the theme of the Winter Olympics here in Vancouver. When I was growing up, the song, I Believe, had slightly different lyrics. The lyrics said, I believe that every drop of rain that falls, a flower will grow. And I would suggest that I would change the lyrics a bit this week to I believe in every drop of snow that falls, our community glows. And I thought they were going to understand the opportunity and sing for us today another song, something like, you know, you are the wind beneath our wings. We have the wind and we have Jeneece. She's the wings. If I could sing, and I can't, and I will not try to do what Ken Levine is going to do before this afternoon is over, I would sing, if I could sing, the Beatles' first great hit, one of the great hits called Oh, Happy Day. But I'd change the words a bit. I'd say, oh, happy 935 days. Because that's the number of days that it took from the first announcement that we were talking about earlier to the completion here today. Oh, happy day. For all of those who believed that it could be done, and that could be done in record time, so that children and families from up and down Vancouver Island and the Gulf Islands could be served by Jeneece Place. I want to thank all the worker bees who were committed to Queen Bee Jeneece, swarmed to the task, and the ever-present goal that the sooner we got it done, the better.